I'd like to call the meeting of the Committee of the Whole to order. It's at 6:30. We have roll call, please.
Paul Dwyer.
Here.
Travis Schulte.
Here.
Richard Yerington.
Present.
Sean Zadinsky.
Here.
John Flynn.
Here.
Mitchell Kale. Patrick Devine. Nellie Pater. Dean Peterson.
We have a quorum, so next item would be looking for a motion for the approval of minutes from November 18th.
I so move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. First item, City Clerk. Becky, would you like to give your report?
Sure. Good evening, everyone. So I did submit a written report, just an update on the final 2024 general election results have been tallied. Everything's been submitted to the Common Council tomorrow night for acceptance. We did have 4,354 voters, which is the largest election in the city's history, the city of Tacoma. So appreciate again everybody's help on that. Not only did we have, I think it was 60 some more voters overall, but we had 476 more people in person than we've ever seen before. The largest one before this was 2020, and we had over 2,000 absentee ballots, and we had about 1,600 this year. So we had over 400 people more in person than we'd ever seen ever. So thanks again for everybody's help with the election. I couldn't have done it without everybody coming together. So speaking of elections, the spring election is on the horizon. We've already published and posted notices for the spring 2025 election. Just remember that is for aldermanic districts 1, 3, 5, and 7. There are other positions on the ballot as well. There will be the State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Justice of the Supreme Court, Court of Appeals Judge, and Circuit Court Judge, School District, and then of course our aldermanic districts will be on there. If anyone's interested in running for office for the local aldermanic districts, they do need to come to the city clerk's office and fill out some paperwork. There are also a certain amount of signatures that are required to be returned, and the deadline for that is 5 o'clock p.m. on January 7th. So just to make sure, if any of you are in 1, 3, 5, or 7, and you're running again, you would need to have that returned to the city clerk's office by November 7th at 5 o'clock p.m. to get on the ballot. Other than that, just cleaning up a few things in the clerk's office. We're working on our end of year processes, which includes collecting minutes and making sure everything's updated on the website. And then once spring comes, we'll be doing a reorg. So just to what's going to be coming. And then, just in the clerk's office myself, I've been pretty busy with new hire orientations. We had 3 new hires, which I think you are all aware of. So I've been working through that. I think that's it. Does anybody have any questions for me? Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Next item is Justin, our new treasurer. Welcome, Justin.
Thank you. Welcome, Matt. Just happening in the chair's office this time, is since my first weekend, is we downloaded all the software for all the computers, got that uploaded, everything's over to the new tax year. We've sold our first dog and cat licenses. We've also worked together basically to make sure the W-2s and 1099s are out for the new year. And we're also working towards getting the new first tax bills due from the landowners, since last Thursday was when we sent them out. So we're just getting ready for tax time and then basically doing our end of month reconciliation. Any questions?
No questions, but a comment. Everybody probably got their tax bill receipts in the mail the last day or two. Some of them had some significant increases, so we're prepared to answer questions.
Always will be.
Thank you. Next item is public or Parks and Recreation.
Good evening. Nothing much from change from last month, just the Parks Department's been busy with our rentals at the parks. With the holiday season, we still have a lot of rentals at our 2 enclosed shelters at the parks. And with the holiday lights at both Gillette and Winnebago continue to, pick up after the public when they visit our parks. We are going to hopefully start making ice at our outdoor rink at Rec Park next week. Just hopefully the weather will, well, we like it warm, but if the weather starts freezing consistently, we'll start making ice at the outdoor rink, weather permitting for that. Other than that, recreation programs, right now we're in our sign-up phase with all our youth programs in adult sports. Sign up this month and we'll start those when we get back from break, starting the first weekend in January and throughout the winter for our winter activities. We're working with the Tomo Rotary Club again with their 15th annual Freeze Fest. That will be coming up the first weekend in February, last week of January. So working on activities. We have our button design contest just went out to the schools this week. So we're excited for our 15th year for the Freeze Fest in our community. A lot of events at the recreation station with Breakfast with Santa this last weekend, followed by 3 rentals throughout the weekend at recreation station. So continues to be a popular place for our community for birthday parties and gatherings there at the recreation station. And we're also working on our 2025 activity guide that hopefully will be out early February, mid-February to the community for our upcoming spring, summer, and fall activities in 2025. Aquatic Center closed for the winter. In Recreation Park, you see the list of activities there. Just a lot of activity going on out there with rentals. Ice Center is full swing from morning to evenings with activities in the high school gymnastics team in the exhibit building. So a lot of things going on at Rec Park this time of year. Any questions or concerns? All right, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. Next item, Kurt, Public Works and Utilities.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Street Department operations pretty well normal. We did have one event where we used about 30 tons of salt. It was a good test run for our equipment, and we did have one sander salting truck that we had some issues with. So primarily we're working on brushing areas, in particular out at the airport. There's some areas that are good high ground and others are waiting for it to freeze up so we can get in there to clear out those runway approaches. Got all the Christmas decorations up, and we're also working on out on Timeline Road. I think they're done with that. The property that we acquired a year or 2 ago now for the sewer department to put a line through there. Also doing some brushing out there. Sewer department, pretty much normal. We did have some issues with one of our tests. We've done a second test and passed that, so we're very happy with that. It's called the wet test. Involves minnows and them being put in length of time, and if they die or don't grow as much as they should, it indicates that we're discharging bad effluent. It wasn't bad before, but it did cause some concern with the DNR, so they asked us to, they told us to retest that. The next project we have out there is a replacement of chemical pumps, and that will go through the engineering and design mode right now. We had in the water department a rash of leaks and breaks. We had one on 1100 block on the corner. It was a curb box. We had another leak on Clark Street. This weekend we had a somewhat major repair or valve that needed to be replaced on Main Street or by the railroad property. Very disruptive from a traffic flow pattern, and that should be paved back this week sometime. We also had a leak that they fixed today, a smaller main repair on Saratoga. I haven't been debriefed by them to know what that's exactly what happened there, but it was a smaller main, not a lot of people on them on that line, so not a large disruption to the community. And the next lake committee meeting is scheduled for 1/16/25 here at 5 o'clock. Take any questions if you have them. Thank you.
Thank you, Kurt. Next item, Police Department. Chief.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Last month, I mentioned that we made a conditional offer to a potential new employee pending testing. That person's name is Caden Kaufman. He did pass all of his testing, his psychological, physical, drug testing. So he'll start with us in the first week of January, and then he'll begin the police academy a few weeks after that. Coming up here in early January, we have an internal sergeant promotion process. We're working with the PSC to identify who our next first line supervisor will be. I'd like to congratulate our administrative assistant, Rhonda Colbert. She just completed 30 years of service to the police department and the community. So she's been a great asset through the years and going strong. So she'll be here for a bit longer, which is good for us. I'd like to thank Tina Thompson and former Mayor Mike Murray for providing our officers with Thanksgiving meals on Thanksgiving when the officers are working. They do that every year, but it's greatly appreciated. The holiday parade and the holiday train, both were very well attended. It was staffed by all of our emergency services to include the police department, and we went off, from a public safety standpoint, pretty well. Today we gave away 120 gifts to Families First and Human Services. We had 120 names on the giving tree. So all those presents were gathered and given to the respective agencies to distribute to families in need. Of course, that could not be done without all the continued generosity from our citizens in the area. They're really the ones that make it all happen. We just kind of facilitate the process. And if you pay attention to the news, over the past month we've had a couple of significant issues. They resulted in charges for attempted first-degree intentional homicide. Both happen to be stabbing incidents. None of them, neither incident were related. They were random, and the victims were known to the suspects. So a lot of hours went into both of those investigations. They're still ongoing. Excellent work by our initial first responders, our patrol staff, to secure the scene and work through all the chaos. And then, of course, it goes to our investigator division with Lieutenant Sloan, Investigator Westfall, and Investigator Stoninger. They put in hundreds of hours so far in these investigations, so they do a really good job for us. And just a reminder every year, but we're going to be closed. Our front lobby will be closed on New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day. The officers are working, we're still available, but the front lobby of the police department is going to be closed. Any questions at all for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, Tina, Chamber and Convention and Visitors Bureau.
Good evening, this side of the room. We are full into our holiday promotions for the year, so this time of year we focus heavily on retail, local shopping, those type of campaigns. We've got probably, aside from the TV advertising we do, we've also got digital campaigns as well as some internal promotions. In case you're not aware, we do have two different Facebook pages. The Tomah Chamber site as well as our Visit Tomah, Wisconsin page. Kind of two different marketing. One is more for our local people to pay attention to what we're doing, local events, those kind of things. The other site is truly set up to kind of gather the visitor audience and bring people into town for those types of campaigns. So oftentimes we have people say, we don't see your campaigns. The TV ones and some of the digital ones you never will, because you're not going to get a hotel room here. Newsflash, probably. But that is one way to see some of the things that we're doing. We are in the development of our second website. I think I mentioned this last month. We're doing a separate site strictly geared towards the tourism side to help us just kind of narrow down some of those promotions a little bit better and capture or have a greater idea of what we're capturing for traffic. I wanted to say thank you to Kirk and his crew, as well as PD and their crew for all of their help with the holiday parade. Again, it's really truly a combined community service that I think we're all pitching in for, but could not put that event together without those departments. So thank you so much for making that easy for us. It was a different lineup to do in the dark, but I think it went off pretty well. I haven't heard otherwise. Um, Our Best of Toma campaign will kick off first quarter of next year. We did this last year for the first time and had really good feedback from participants and the businesses in the area. Now that they've had kind of a year under their belt to see what it is and how to promote it, we're hearing from them that they are excited to kick it off again. So excited for that. Get ready to vote. Lastly, just continue to meet with the Monroe County Economic Development and Tourism Committee. The conference for next year will be April 10th and 11th, and that will be at Three Bears Resort in Warrens. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the general part of the agenda, item number 6, secondhand article and jewelry dealer licenses, application for the Antique Ball of Toma.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have one motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 7, approval of permit fee schedule for the GEC permits. Do we want to talk about that for a second? Sure.
So I can talk to this a little bit. I know Nick knows a little bit about it too, so do you want to come to the mic? So this listing in front of you, and there is a page missing out of the packet. That's on me, sorry. So Nick was gracious enough to make copies for everyone here. We'll have some tomorrow for any other council members that come. But what it is GEC is increasing their rates, so we are correspondingly raising our fees as well in order to maintain the costs associated with that. So I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, so when we started using GEC in August, obviously we had one permit fee schedule. They're increasing it effective 1 January going out for the next 2 years. As I understand it, this is a standard increase. It's not specific to the city of Toma, but for all the entities that GEC does these services for. And so again, this would be an increase effective 1 January. The preponderance of the increases is to the commercial construction permits. And I have Casey on the line. Casey, did you want to throw in any relevant information?
Nope, I think you covered the majority is the commercial, for the increases. But other than that, there is our signs, all the permits that we do internally, still, we did not increase those.
And if we do not increase, or if we do not approve this fee schedule, then this is what GEC will be charging, so we would be covering the cost of the difference. Casey, is that correct?
Correct, yep.
What is the percentage increase on this, basically across the board?
Casey, did you hear that question?
I did.
Okay.
So I want to say it was probably about 10% across the commercial. Not every commercial one was up. But yeah, it was close to 10% on the ones that were.
So the amounts that are listed are the new amounts, correct?
Correct.
Correct.
And they are slightly above what they are charging us, right? We built in that extra.
No. This is their charge to us, then our percentage goes on top of this.
No, these are with our 10%
Okay, perfect,
admin fee on here.
perfect. Thank you.
I was correct on that, wasn't I?
So we're looking for a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next, item number 8, discussion and approval of the fire department job description changes. Tim, thanks.
Good evening, everyone. You should have a copy of the job descriptions. I believe there's a dozen of them. 10 of them were modified very slightly, just some update, more housekeeping changes. Nothing really drastic. Hasn't been looked at for about 13 years now, so wanted to get that taken care of. Anybody have any questions?
It appears most of this is adding the rescue squad to the descriptions.
Yeah, and you can see there's a few line items that are,
Deputy chief.
yeah, a few line items that are struck out, and deputy chief was added in again. It's just a bunch of housekeeping items, so no major changes at all. The fire chief and the deputy chief job descriptions were not touched or modified in no way, so.
Motion to approve.
I second it.
So we have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Next item number 9, resolution for payment of monthly bills.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 10, approval of specific wording of ARPA funding to the 2025 and the 2026 budgets. Justin?
Hello again. Just so you know, we had a discussion with the committee involved around the ARPA funds for basically the spending and obligating for the next years to come. And basically what they're saying is ARPA wants us basically to be very specific on the obligation we're doing for it. Previously what the board approved was saying that it's used for IT expenditures. I just want to make it very specific, saying we're using it for the 3RTS contract, since it's basically supposed to be paid for a contract or a subcontract. It's just basically making sure it's specific for auditors so they know what it's used for.
So I'm going to jump in for just a little bit here. So in the approval of the budget, we allocated dollars towards a specific budget. So I think 70-some thousand was allocated towards the senior center budget, and that's fine because it shows an outline of exactly what those expenses are going to be spent on, and that's what ARPA is going to be looking for when we report in April. And same thing with the rest of it towards the 3RT contract. So the problem is the 2026 ARPA funds, since they have to be allocated before the end of this year, was approved to be moved towards the 2026 general budget. That's not sufficient is kind of what he's saying, and that we need to put it towards something specific. I mean, we have, that's already a contract that's signed, that's in place. It's not changing. It's just that we would, are requesting that the committee and council would appropriate those funds to those specific costs so that we can properly report it come April, if that makes sense.
The 3RT contract goes out past 2026?
It goes through 2027. I think it was approved in 2021 or 2020.
But, but basically each month, each year, we basically pay enough to cover each of those obligations we would give to it. It's just a matter, we want it very specific, so if we ever get audited, it's protected.
I understand.
It's a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
I didn't want to commit funds to a contract that expired before.
No,
So
we
as long as
checked.
it's past that, then
Yeah,
I
it's past.
get it.
Move to approve.
Second.
So we have a motion to approve and a second. Any further discussion?
I do have a question. By doing this, is it possible or feasible that that expenditure would be not part of the budget?
It's already part of the budget. It was,
What I'm getting at is, we have levy caps, we have levy limits.
yes.
By doing a specific contract with ARPA funds, could that be considered outside the levy budget limits? It's just a question.
No, because those monies aren't levied, they're already in-house, so they're not levied funds, so they're not part of the levy limit, because those are not, that's not part of the constraint there, because those funds aren't taxpayer dollars. That's what the levy limit is referring to, so that would be, this is basically like using an account that we have set aside for an obligation we know we have to pay based on a contract that was already signed, if that makes sense.
I think so.
Sounds good, thanks. So all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Item number 11, renewal of airport leases, Boyer Field.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion?
Any changes to the leases?
No, there's no, the cost is staying exactly the same, and they're just renewals at this point. We are reviewing all of the airport hangars in general, just to make sure we have all accurate information. I have a waiting list for folks who want to rent a hanger, so if we do come up with any empty ones, we'll be contacting folks off that list.
Thank you.
Thanks. So we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Looking for a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned. Thanks. At 6:56.
Meeting to order on Tuesday, the 17th, I believe.
Yep.
We're gonna do call to order, Pledge of Allegiance next.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We'll do roll call.
Altmeyer,
Here.
Travis Schulte.
Here.
Richard Yerington.
Present.
Sean Flinsky.
Here.
John Glenn.
Here.
Mitchell Peel. Patrick Devine. Nellie Pater.
Here.
Dean Peterson.
Here. So is there anyone desiring to come before the council? If not, we're gonna move right over to John Glenn because he's got an announcement.
So, thank you, guys. This is an announcement from Cardinal IG. Cardinal IG has decided to invest in Toma for the second time in 5 years. This time, Cardinal is bringing the innovative switchable privacy glass technology, which we call CLIC, and its processes to the Toma IG facility in the form of a $70 million project. Aaron Arnson will lead the project with the support of the CLIC team, who has been developing this new product for the last decade. At its end state, the project's planned for full production across 3 shifts, and Cardinal will add 80 to 100 team members to the existing 500 employees. The CLIC project includes a new office building located on the northeast side of the current north building. Toma IG was selected for the project because of its long history of excellent service and performance, and because of the logistics of the process, and the shipment were the most logical from Toma. The CLIC process currently is run out of the CLIC IG Tech Center in Brooklyn Park, Minnesota, in Minneapolis area. Some team members from the Tech Center will relocate to the Toma area in the middle to late 2025, and Cardinal will be hiring numerous engineers and technicians to fill various positions. The new equipment in Toma will allow Cardinal to scale its process for mass production to meet the market demands for switchable privacy glass.
Thank you, John.
That's it.
Okay,
Thanks,
we'll move on. I'm next, so my statement tonight is to welcome our 2 new hires, Mr. Nick Morales and Mr. Justin Durhammer, Economic Development Coordinator, and our new treasurer. So I want to make you feel welcome and wish you the best of luck with us. I hope you are going to be here for a very long time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we'll move on to the senior executive team. Kurt?
So you have a report. Do you have any questions? All right, thank you.
We're going to move on to economic development and code enforcement, which would be Nick and Casey, I believe.
Yes, good evening, everyone. So I will start, if you can see our report in the upper left quadrant, our priorities for December. First, I'd like to thank Casey Kinnear for really punching above her weight class, covering down a lot of tasks for zoning as we filled that gap. And that's been our #1 priority, is to get her transition back onto some code enforcement tasks, and she'll have an annual report prepared for January. Our #2 is the facade improvement grant application processing. We currently have 2 completed applications that we're processing, and we'll be reaching out to those applicants here by the end of the week. And #3 is the Manawa Street RFI deliverables. Today was the deadline to receive responses, and we did receive 1 response. So I'll be working with the rest of the set and also Vanderwall and Associates to take a look at that RFI submission response. There is no significant updates for administration or logistics. If we move to the upper right quadrant, current operations, which is covering the next 30 days, already the schedule has been filled for key stakeholder engagements. So we've completed 8 total key stakeholder engagements so far this month, and 1 media engagement. Moving to the bottom left quadrant for future operations, which is greater than a month out to 1 year, we are going to continue to process this Manawa Street RFI. We're meeting with the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation at a roundtable in Osseo. And then a big thing is the Chamber of Commerce annual banquet. So I will be putting out separate correspondence to members of the governing body, whether or not you would like to attend, and then we'll open it up to other city employees. We're also looking at some future initiatives for annual planning, taking a look at and drilling into the capital improvement plan and the downtown master plan. Future plans, so 1 to 5 years out, very, very deep range, but we will have a requirement coming up in 2026 to update our parks and open space plan. And pending any questions, that's all I have for the monthly update. Okay, for the October permit report, I have Casey on the line, so pending any specific questions you have, we can forward them to her. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Nick. Public safety is next.
Good evening, everyone.
Hi, Jim.
Hi, Tim.
You have my written report. Fire department staffing wise, firefighter Taylor McMullen recently resigned. Gentleman was on for just a few years. Time restraints, family, job. I get it. It's tough to be a volunteer these days, so he stepped away. With that said, this Thursday evening, the Police and Fire Commission are holding interviews. I have 6 potential candidates to create an eligibility list for next year. That list will be good for 12 months, and I can select off of that. So we're in great shape. We'll probably be hiring a couple going into 2025. Fire inspectors are just finishing up their 2nd round of inspections. I believe they got less than a handful left for 2024, the 2nd round, so they'll be completing that here right shortly. Unfortunately, we had our 4th structure fire on December 8th. It was a 2-story single-family home over here on 519 Clark Street. The fire still continues to be under investigation at this time. So, other than that, fire department's been very busy. Just kind of a snapshot. The last 7 days, we've been out 18 times. So. A lot of motor vehicle accidents. We got a lot of bad weather coming in here again, it sounds like, in the next couple of days, so be aware of what's going on out there when you're driving, please. Other than that, we did have a real near miss here in the last 7 days downtown. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. One of the businesses behind 1100 Superior Avenue has like a little shelter area in the back. I'm not quite exactly sure what the purpose of it is, but somebody was standing back there smoking and caught some cardboard on fire, which caught the building on fire. And luckily it was identified right away. We got there and got it put out. If something like this would have happened in the midnight hours, we probably would have had another catastrophic fire. So it takes everybody to, be on the stick when it comes to fire prevention, and we need all the help we can get, especially when it comes to the downtown area. So EMS wise, again, we're at full staff. We're going to be looking for those 3 positions that were created full-time going into 2025. We'll start that process here and hopefully get those filled once we get some qualified candidates. Just a quick update on Unit 269. That was the one that was at the Remount Center for a good portion of the year. It's back up there right now. We had some electronic issues along with some heating issues in the back. I believe we're going back and picking it up tomorrow, so they work through the issues. So, other than that, on the emergency management side, I think Police Chief kind of hit on it a little bit last night, but we now have our Emergency Operations Center, our EOC as we call it, at the new emergency service building. It's all set up down there. Police, fire, EMS, we kind of went through the steps of opening that up and how that would look in the event if we had something larger scale in the city, tracking resources and apparatus and manpower, whatever we need to do to take care of an incident inside the city. We pre-plan different incidences, so it's all set up ahead of time in case if something happens. So that went very well. Other than that, that's all I have for the evening. Anybody has any questions?
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you. Thanks.
We're gonna move on to the library.
Are we approving from the emergency operation plan?
I actually have it on there twice, so you didn't choose to do it in either
Oh,
section.
no, that's okay, I just wanna make sure that was done, okay.
I
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
saw that it was further down the list.
Yep, no problem, I just didn't want us to skip it, because I know we wanted to get it done, but, okay.
You're up, Irma.
Thank you. In November, we had 2,043 online checkouts, as well as 4,673 physical checkouts, for a total of 6,716 items checked out from the library in November. On December the 3rd, we held our annual fundraiser. We raised approximately $5,000, and we're going to use this money to buy indoor electronic signage. So it'll be similar to what we have outside, but not as big. And we'll use that to highlight our programs and other library information. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Margie Gigas, who is the president of the Friends of the Library, and she's been doing that for over 10 years. She's really organized and she's committed to helping the library. We are very fortunate to have her support. Every year she gets a team together to make this event happen. There's a lot involved. Getting volunteers. Every year she's surprised at how successful it is. We are not, but she is. So thank you to Margie. Just want to publicly recognize how much she has helped the library. Thank you to her, and thank you to the area businesses that donate to us and all the other individuals that make the event a success every year. Please think about becoming a friend of the library. It's a very simple process. They're a volunteer group, and their purpose is to raise money to support the library. We encourage everybody who loves the library to join this group. Get more information about that on our website or call us at the library. Just a quick recap of what's been happening at the library this month. On December 5th, we had a family movie, The Wild Robot. Yesterday and today, we had story time with Santa. This Thursday, we'll be showing a movie for grown-ups, 8 Women, and that's at 6 o'clock. Saturday, December 28th, we'll hold a children's book sale, and those are gently used books that we've moved on from our collection, and we sell them, and the Friends of the Library get that money, and then they use it to fund the library. Story time is on hold, and will resume again on January 6th. Does anybody have any questions for me? All right, thank you.
Have a good Christmas, Earl.
Merry Christmas to you. Thank you.
So we'll move on to senior and disabled services. That'd be Pam.
Hello, everybody.
Good evening.
You have my report in front of you. I have to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to everybody. We will be closed on Tuesday, December 24th and Wednesday, December 25th. And then on Tuesday, December 31st and Wednesday, January 1st. The numbers for November were 1,785 plus for the usage and 226 plus for the volunteers. We are excited. We have another quilting group starting at the senior center in January in a couple, not even, a couple weeks or whatever. It's not far away. And so on the 1st and 3rd, we have our original, Wednesdays, we have our original quilting group, and then the Sewing Divas will be on the 2nd and the 4th Wednesdays. And they come from 10:30 to 3:30 and have a good social time and do their projects. So we're excited about that. We had our Christmas party Friday, and this is our annual Christmas party. It's probably the best attended activity of the year. My euchre players come, my bingo players come, my quilters come, everybody comes to it. And it is sponsored by Rotary every year. And Santa came, and the St. Paul Singers came, and there were treats and cookies, and it was a good time. Do you have any questions from the report? You know, if I get started, I can go on and on about the senior center, so I'll just ask if there's any questions.
Congratulations on the craft sale.
Thank you. Yes, it was a success.
Do you know how many people attended, roughly?
The Arts and Craft Fair, have no idea. The public just comes and shops. And I do not know if I put the numbers in this report or not, or whether I did the numbers after the report. I will see if I have them for you. I think I must have done it after the written report, so. Okay, next month. Thank you.
Are we going back to 5? Units number 5.
It's in number 11 under general.
It's number 11 under the general. Okay, so we're going to move on to the consent agenda. It's 3 items: approval of minutes from November 19th, 2024, a secondhand article and jewelry dealer license application for Antique Mall of Toma, and renewal of airport leases, Blair Field.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Committee of the Whole, resolution for payment of monthly bills.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Item 5, approval of permit fees schedule for GEC permits.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
A question, are we adjusting our additional fees also to coincide with this?
Do you mean like, the permits that we do in-house still?
Can you repeat the question? I don't think we were able to hear it.
We were adding a surcharge onto the general engineering's charges for permits. Are we going to adjust that schedule also or not?
So, Casey, jump in here after I try to answer this, but the schedule that's up for approval, those numbers include our fee with it. Is that correct, Casey?
Correct, yeah.
So the numbers that you have for the effective 1 January GEC permit fee schedule includes the GEC fee plus the city fee. It's all included. Does that answer the question?
Yep.
Okay. Any other questions?
Any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to common council. Discussion and approval of fire department job description changes.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Approval of specific wording of ARPA funding to the 2025 and 2026 budgets.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Go ahead.
So I just wanted for the minutes to say that the motion is to approve the allocation of $83,832.13, which was what was allocated to 2026 general fund budget, instead to say to the 2026 budget towards the 3RT contract for IT expenses. That would be what the motion will say in the minutes.
That's what Justin talked about last
That's
night.
exactly what he talked about
So,
last
yeah,
night.
yeah.
I just wanted to put it exactly in there because this will be what is used to show that it was allocated prior to the end of 2024.
Appreciate it.
Thanks.
So, and is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We'll move on to appointments. Appointment of Mitch Kale to the board. We can do all these at once, right? Okay. Appointment of Mitch Kale to the Board of Review to fulfill the remaining term of Nicole Hart ending April of 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of Mitch Kale to the Joint City School Planning Committee to fulfill the remaining term of Nicole Hart ending April of 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Appointment of Mitch Kale to Senior and Disabled Services Board to fulfill the remaining term of Nicole Hart ending April of 2025.
Move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. We're going to move on to the general, which is number 11, Emergency Management Operation Plan of Approval.
Good evening again. The emergency management team for the city, along with Penny, redrafted and came up with the most recent update of the emergency operation plan. You guys, I believe you guys got that attachment, right? The first 9 pages of it is actually the plan itself, and then the remaining portion of it is basically resources, indexes, and things like that that will change. could change daily, could change monthly, weekly, quarterly, whatever. We'll review that stuff annually. So asking for approval of the plan. If anything in the front 9 pages would ever happen to change, we would come back to the council for approval on that. But we would ask for permission to make changes on any of the other pages without the council approval. Basically, it's emails, phone numbers, job titles. You know, people come and leave in different positions throughout the operation plan, so.
Page 14 is already got out of date.
There's already things on
Holly
there that.
and Shane.
Yes, yep, so.
Basically an update of last year.
It's an update since the last time it's been approved by the council, and there's been changes that were made, so. I'm not sure what format that they got. Did they get the one that had the strikeouts on it, or did they just get the new
The
plan?
final. We just got.
Got the final draft, so.
So there are some updates. The Monroe County had, Monroe County had changed some ordinances, so we updated those type things. We also updated to keep some understanding of who's doing what by way of Monroe County Coordinator. We kind of talked about that when we changed the ordinance, the emergency management ordinance back in June. We talked a little bit about some of these changes. We essentially incorporated what you guys already passed with that Monroe County, emergency management ordinance changes, and we just incorporated it into the document.
Basically, it allows the fire chief, the police chief to run their incident, and then when we need help from outside, from the county and the resources, then we would work with the county and they would help us bring the resources in if we needed to, so.
And it's consistent with the state statutes in terms of who's doing what. So we just kind of cleaned it up. It needed to be cleaned up and updated. So nothing substantive other than what you guys already passed back in June.
Chief, have you had a chance to review the first 9 pages?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was heavily involved in the rewrite of it, so.
Any portion you're concerned with?
No.
Thank you.
So do you need a motion to approve? How about we make a motion to approve the first 9 pages, and with the freedom on the last part of it to be updated as you see needed?
Second.
Yeah.
So we have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief. We're going to move on to item number 12, acceptance of final voting tally for the general election of 2024.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Is there any other discussion?
I'd like to just publicly recognize Becky and her staff. Largest election we've ever had, and albeit somewhat of a long line at times, I think it went over pretty well, so appreciate you, Becky.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. So we're going to move into adjournment for a closed session pursuant Wisconsin statute 19.85, subparagraph 1, section E, deliberating or negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specific public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require closed session, and Wisconsin statutes 19.85, 1, section C, considering employment promotions, compensations, or performance evaluations data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility for set evaluation discussion.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We're in closed session.